Last night's game on the surface, snooze fest, 12-6, the first game all year long with neither team scoring a touchdown. And of all the teams we would have expected it from, Rams 49ers would have been at the bottom of the list. They've had some barn burners in the past. They had a 41-39 game on a Thursday night several years back, 12-6. Big picture takeaway, you're a defensive guy. Do you like watching defensive struggles like that, or would you like a few touchdowns or, maybe one?
No, I don't mind a defensive game, but the biggest thing is it was the weather last night. And that was the thing that was frustrating because in the first half, no one could really do anything. Second half, the rain, all the storms kind of slowed down. And that's when you saw the Rams really get hot and start to take off. But the one thing that I was really, really excited about, they gave the ball to Kyron Williams over 30 times. He touched the ball over 30 times. And that's what I've been clamoring for. Get this kid the ball 20, 25 times and give him an opportunity to run the football and be able to control the clock. And I thought the Rams did a heck of a job with that last night.
Yeah, 29 carries, 108 yards, plus he had 2 catches for 4 yards, 31 total touches. Just 4 days after the Rams played the Bills in a 44-42 game. What a difference 5 days makes for the Rams from scoring 44 to scoring 12. But, this is the second time in 3 games, Rodney, that the 49ers have had weather as a factor, and they seem to be the team of the two in the given game that can't handle it.
Yeah, it just seems like the 49ers are off. I mean, I saw Kyle Shanahan a couple weeks ago when we had him, and he just looked tired. He looked frustrated, and it's hard, man, when you have Trent Williams out, you have McCaffrey out, you have Brandon Ayuk out, you have guys on the defensive side of the ball out. He's given every single ounce of energy that he has, but time and time again, he continues to fall short. And I just think that, they've tried so hard for so many years. They might have to blow this thing up, Mike, and start all over.
Well, and when you say blow it up, that's really the question. How big is the explosion? Do you blow it up? Obviously, some of these veteran guys who have been around, and George Kittle said it in 2023, entering the season, this might be our last chance. They ran it all the way to the Super Bowl and yet again had a 10-point lead over the Chiefs in the second half and weren't able to close the deal. Now it does feel like a lot of recognizable names probably not going to be there next year. But when you say blow it up, because here's the thing. They win 38-13 over Chicago. Hey, keep Kyle Shanahan, keep John Lynch. Now you're going to have 49ers fans saying, get rid of them too. How big of a blow up do you think they should engage in?
I still like Kyle Shanahan as a coach. I think he's a really good, young, innovative mind, but I think at times it could run its course. And maybe they trade him. Maybe he needs to go somewhere else to get that motivation. But it just doesn't seem to be working out. It seems like they've almost reached their climax. And you start looking at Deebo Samuel and start to say, what's going on with him? He's not the same player that we paid. And George Kittle, he's playing his heart out. They just don't have enough, Mike. And we're so used to them dominating on the offensive line and defensive line. And when they're getting pushed around, this is just a totally different football team, and they just can't stand up to the best teams in the NFL.
You were with the Patriots team, the front end of the dynasty, where every year they would play deep into January, if not February, and have to start over again. Devin McCourty was with the second half of that dynasty. Bill Belichick doing a masterful job of getting things to reset, forget about last year, deal with the next year. I feel like the 49ers, and maybe it's just a product of not winning a Super Bowl, but they keep and have kept getting close and being frustrated, and getting close and being frustrated. And I do feel like at some point, everybody needs a fresh start. It's the Andy Reid phenomenon. I felt that way after the 49ers lost to the Chiefs back in February. At some point, Kyle Shanahan needs to go somewhere else. The 49ers need to go in a different direction. Just because there's only so many times you can pound on the door and not have it open before everybody just kind of throws their hands in the air and says, this is never going to happen.
Yeah, and also you got to decide too what you want to do with um, Brock Purdy, the
Brock
quarterback, excuse
Purdy.
me. Yeah, you got to decide what you want to do with him. Do you keep him at probably 30, 35 million, or do you, let him go or allow his agents to pressure you into paying him $50 million? And the kid, he's a good quarterback. He's a solid quarterback. He's just not worth 50-ish million dollars. So if they can get him on a cheap deal, maybe a 3-year, $100 million deal, very similar to maybe Baker Mayfield, maybe you sign something like that, but you can't overpay for Brock Purdy. I mean, 14 to 31, 142 yards, an interception. The kid has been so up and down this year. It almost seems like he's fighting with his confidence, Mike.
Well, and you make a great point because they don't have to pay him in 2025. The window opens for a second contract for Brock Purdy when the 2024 regular season ends. When will they make a move? Will they make a move? Will they put a mid-level, lower-level starter contract on the table between January and September and say, whenever you want to take it, go ahead and take it. If you don't want to take it, you can play for what you're due to make in the fourth year of the contract you got as the last guy drafted. And then if you don't, we'll figure it out in 2026. Franchise tag, go see what's on the market. You may not find anything better than whatever we're willing to pay you. You know, we've been saying this for 6 or 7 years now. At some point, one of these teams is going to say, I'm not just going to make you the highest paid player in NFL history just because you've checked the box as being good enough to stick around. At some point, one of these teams is going to say, we want you, but not for 50 million, 55 million, 60 million. We want you for a reasonable amount. And maybe the 49ers will do it. Now, if they do it and he calls their bluff, they better have a plan B ready. But I think it would be foolish at this point to just assume Brock Purdy gets a market level deal after this year. He needs to reestablish himself next year to even have a shot at that. And there's risk for both sides. But I can't imagine the 49ers saying, yeah, here, take everything. Go ahead. You're going to be paid as much as Dak Prescott.
No, they got a lot of veteran players getting paid, and the reason why they were able to pay him because they had a quarterback on a cheap rookie contract, and yeah, you can get away with that for a few years, but then all of a sudden you have to pay this guy. Then you have to start looking at some of your veterans who you're paying, and then to pay Trent Williams the type of money that you're paying him, and he's missing the games that he's missing. The same thing with Brandon Ayuk. You sign these guys to these big time long term deals, you're investing in these guys, and when you can't get anything back on your investment, it costs your team. And you just start to look at Javon Hargrave and Telefunga who Talanoa Hufanga and all these veteran guys. And when he came back, he gave this defense a spark. But just imagine if they had all these veterans, but everyone keeps getting hurt. It seems like something's going on with the offseason program. Christian McCaffrey, he's always seeming like he's sore or he's got tendonitis or something going on. It's just a mess, Mike. And, like I said, they might have to start this thing over. I think John Lynch has done a good job of trying to pay guys. They brought the talent in. They just keep falling short.
How hard is it, though? You lived it with the Patriots from 2003 through 2008, playing deep into the postseason every year, 3 Super Bowls during that stretch. To keep your body from revolting, playing extra football every year, the mental toll it takes, working that hard when most of the other teams have shut it down and are relaxing. How do you keep going when you get that far every year and you have to reset with less time than other teams have?
I think it's actually easier, man. When you're looking forward to going to the playoffs and postseason, I think you get this added energy. At least I did, and just felt like, hey, we got more football to be played. I think that the crazy thing about it is when you're toward the latter part of the season and you don't have anything to look forward to. Now you see guys quitting, you see guys protecting themselves, guys giving up. And I was never like that, Mike. It didn't matter if we were 1-15 or what our record was. I was going full throttle. You could never see a difference in my play when I played on a 1-15 team compared to playing on a 16-0 team. You can never see a difference in my play because I've always given everything. And that's what you look for. And it just seems like the 49ers and teams that are starting to lose guys are starting to protect themselves. And I was very disappointed with Devondre Campbell and what he did last night.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.